My oh my. Good morning, everybody. This is your host, Doc, and this is the day of Doc's Fantasy Corner for what is well, I think what we're now in week 17. So this is your last and final episode of the season, and I sincerely hope that you guys are all enjoying um, the football season. I mean, the Eagles have had a great turnout. Um, in terms of their talent, they've had a lot of people kind of show up this year that maybe they weren't really expecting to have, and in turn doing so, obviously, they're sitting where they are with a chance of a playoff berth today. Obviously, they need a win. They need a couple of other things to happen as well. But at the end of the day, we're here for Doc's Fantasy Corner, and the only thing that anyone ever really cares about in Doc's Fantasy Corner are the matchups. So I'm just going to I'm going to explain. There's only really one matchup that matters, ultimately. I'm going to break down that matchup, the championship matchup, and I'm going to weigh in slightly on our toilet bowl because I think that our toilet bowl contestants need to be recognized the way they should be week in and week out. So we're going to do that as well. So looking at this first matchup, these are the two best teams in the league according to where they're at right now. Obviously, so right now, as it stands, championship game, guys. Championship on the line. Who do you got? You got Team Suck My Chub versus Brady's eighth ring. You got a 9-5 versus an 8-6. Do you lean towards the commissioner? Do you lean towards the dynasty? So it really just is it's pick your poison. I mean, Lemon, I thought, has had a great year in terms of drafting and just also just plugging in personnel. That seems to be what he's the best at every year, and I would love to kind of pick his brain about what exactly he does to kind of manage, because we've had me and him have had very good conversations about I said he's been playing Moneyball this year, and we've had very good conversations about that for some of the players that he's come up with. He actually has his own algorithm made, so I'd love to pick his brain about that. Pretty intelligent stuff there. On the other side, Brady's eighth ring. Pat put it the best. I spoke to Pat recently. He just said that this time of year, it really, you got to have a good team to get there, and then at the end of the year, you just got to hope for a little bit of luck. And I think today, that's exactly what both of these teams need. Because who's to say? I mean, Jalen Hurts could have the best game of his career against Washington today, or he could do absolutely nothing. It really depends on the player, and that's what makes playoff football fun, because right now, the whole year we've been playing, obviously, the regular season, and last week even as well, and the week before were playoff implications for our league. But not to say that those games weren't playoff implications for the NFL as well, but today you're going to see a lot of players doing different things, trying to extend plays, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. You got to hope there's no injuries, obviously, on either side of the ball here, but just looking at the matchups alone, like I said, we're rocking Jalen Hurts versus Washington versus Dak versus Arizona. Arizona's lost a couple. They don't really quite look like the team that maybe we thought they were at the beginning of the year. Dak Prescott has had an okay year, not a great year, I'd say. It's really a pick your poison kind of deal. I lean Jalen Hurts here. I think Jalen Hurts has the edge because Dak's playing the better Arizona team, and I think Washington's beat up. I don't really like Washington right now to win against Philly today, so I'm gonna lean Jalen Hurts on that. So then you look at the other side. You look at the running back situation, and Lemon's playing David Montgomery versus the Giants. Now, I think David Montgomery, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm trying to bring up his stats now, but it's not just working for me right now. So it doesn't look like he's had like a terrific year. He's missed some time to injury. And that, on the other side, you got Josh Jacobs, who's been a little inconsistent. I say he's probably one of the worst starting running backs in the NFL, but those are the two guys right now. If I have to pick, again, I don't think the Giants are good, so I like the David Montgomery play here. I'm not a Josh Jacobs guy, but here's where it starts to get interesting for these teams because I love the Aaron Jones versus Minnesota play. It's an interdivisional matchup, could go either way, but Aaron Jones is coming off a soft week. He didn't really get a lot of useful yards last week against Cleveland. Maybe fantasy wise, you want to see better. Excuse me, and I think you're going to see that with Aaron Jones today. I think that's kind of going to be the MO, especially with Kirk being out. I think you're going to start seeing Aaron Jones, Kirk's out for Minnesota, but that doesn't affect him. But I think regardless, I think you're still going to see those touches for Aaron Jones, and the interdivisional matchups kind of work out well for those players sometimes. So that's what I'm leaning with. Over Joe Mixon playing Kansas City because Joe Mixon is and can be inconsistent, but Joe Burrow just seems to love his wide receivers, and there's no reason to think that Joe Mixon won't get his touches today. But I'm gonna lean Aaron Jones here. So in this next matchup, obviously, it's Deebo Samuel against Houston and A.J. Brown versus the Jets. So both are great plays. A.J. Brown got a lot of touches or targets last week. He missed some time. Now he's back. He got 20 points. But I'm going to lean with the reliable Deebo Samuel against Houston. Deebo just he's the Swiss Army knife. He's getting targets and he's getting touches. So just being that, I'm going to lean Deebo there. So that puts the lead, Lemon, Hurts, Montgomery, and Deebo over Aaron Jones, basically. So that's a good start for Lemon's team. Looking at the next wide receivers, obviously, without a doubt, taking Tyreek Hill against Cincinnati. And Tyreek's playing T. Higgins. T. Higgins is coming off of a career game. He had 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, very well could have a big day again. But Jamar Chase is still the guy there. So, look, with the Kansas City defense not being great, look to T. Higgins still getting points there. But I'm going to lean Tyreek Hill for the better matchup there. And then, obviously, the tight ends. This is a premier tight end matchup right here. I think it's not often, actually, that you see a fantasy team in the championship with a star tight end. Let alone 2 tight ends. I mean, we have arguably 2 of the 3 best tight ends here in the league with Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. Obviously, I'm going to lean Travis Kelce here just because it's Travis Kelce. And Mark Andrews is playing the Rams. So that's a pretty tough matchup in general, whereas Kelce's playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a joke team, but a lot of analysts, and they're not really sure what their defense is doing. I think that they're where they're at because I think they're playing well around Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow brings a certain energy and charisma and just tempo to that offense, and I think it gives the defense a little bit more confidence when they're playing as well. So that's what I'm going to chalk that up to. But I mean, if I had to pick, I would want to play Kelce over Mark Andrews here. In the flex position, I mean, it's Nick Chubb versus Tony Pollard. Again, it's kind of a pick your poison kind of deal. I would lean Nick Chubb over Tony Pollard though, because obviously Tony Pollard's playing with Zeke as well. But Tony Pollard might get some touches here because Dallas already has the division locked up. So why would they necessarily want to risk? Well, I guess they're still playing for that seed, so you don't want to sit players yet. But they could, so you don't know exactly what their game plan is. If I was Pat, I would probably play Brandon Cooks against San Fran because I don't really trust San Fran's secondary. It hasn't been great this year. And then obviously Lemon with David Moore on his bench after he tried to trade him to me, so that's always exciting. But obviously the kickers and the defenses don't really matter as much. Pat, I told you a couple weeks ago I was going to hold on to the Packers defense, but I ended up needing to drop them. I didn't want anyone to have the Packers defense was on the uptick. You know what I mean? Like, they were having a few great weeks. Didn't want anyone to snag them up. So you're playing the Packers defense. Sorry, Pat. Cowboys playing Arizona. And then obviously you got the kickers. You got the Lance Bass versus the Greg Zerloin. So again, kind of a pick your poison type deal. Right now, just going off of what the matchups we walked through, you're looking at, and Sleeper has Suck My Chub to win about 2 is the spread. So Suck My Chub's favored by about 53%. Could be because of the way his matchups are. Has a couple of good looking matchups for this, but I'm still gonna lean Suck My Chub. I think he's had a great year. Obviously, it's hard to go against the Dynasty Pat, but and maybe I'm doing you a favor. Maybe I'm doing you a favor by not picking the Dynasty, but it's hard to argue some of the pieces that Lemon has right now. The only question mark I have really is David Montgomery, but you've Josh Jacobs, and I'm not a huge fan of Josh Jacobs. So I'm going to lean Suck My Chub, and I kind of agree. I think it's going to be within like 3 points this game. I think it's going to be super close because I'm looking at the players, and they're all projected pretty much the same amount of points. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to call it Suck My Chub. Championship game, Suck My Chub. I'm going to do spread of 3.5. I'm going to give Suck My Chub another 1.5 over for Sleeper here. I just think 2's too close to call it. I think it'll be more in the 3-4 range. But regardless, this is Doc's Fantasy Corner, and if you guys obviously are wanting to get in next year, because this is the last episode, give me a shout out, because I can start throwing stuff together, and I'll have a good set list. I'll have a lineup next year. I actually am thinking about a new platform. Haven't decided if it's going to be Twitch or something else yet, but I'm going to keep you guys in tune as kind of we go along, and hopefully I can get a better setup here, so this way I don't have to hold the mic this close to my mouth anymore. But regardless, guys, this is Doc's Fantasy Corner. This is your host, Doc. I want to wish the champion, whoever it may be, the best of luck. But last but not least, and I hope you guys didn't think I forgot, because I certainly didn't. I am going to get into the I'm going to get right into the toilet bowl, and we can't forget about that. So just to get into the toilet bowl, our 2 toilet bowl champions fighting against one another. Team Franny Fantasy versus the illustrious Sean Murphy 0, or Team Dalvin and the Chipmunks, I think. These are the 2 worst teams in the league by far. They've had the ups and the downs. They've had the players that they've wanted off the waiver that maybe they didn't get, players that got injured, whatever the case may be. You 2 are the proud owners. The proud owners of the worst teams in the inaugural Sleeper Fear Boners Came in Wentz League. And if I have to pick a team to win, I'm going to pick the underdog. There's no reason to think that he won't win this week. I'm going to give the edge to my man, Dalvin and the Chipmunks. Reason being, Franny, is because your team is, as bad as it actually is, your team is also the most unlucky team of the year. So if I had an award, you would get, worst GM, you'd get worst draft, you'd get worst luck. It's just been, it's been not a great year, Franny. We got to hit the reset button for you, get you back feeling better. But this is 2 years in a row, man, that you're the Sacco potentially. So need to keep an eye out on that. But guys, this is Doc's Fantasy Corner. I hope you guys had a great year and enjoyed all the content for you that was put out. And if you guys, like I said, if you guys want to get in next year, let me know ahead of time, and I'll always set up something else, and I'll let you guys know exactly what we're doing this on. But hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and until next year, signing off.
Since day one, I never give up, and put the record on repeat. I thrive on beats and funky psychedelia.